To determine, Mr. Speaker, the student's level of need, in order to give the categorization, there was use of a product called the means testing instrument. Now, the means testing instrument was designed to utilize data provided by students to determine their level of need. The data was then validated through other government agencies and systems. The application system is integrated in other government databases that include the Universities and College Central Placement Service, the Integrated Population Registration System, the National Education Management Information System, NEMIS, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, the Higher Education Loans Board, the Registrar of Births and Deaths, the National Social Protection Scheme, National Council of Persons with Disabilities, and the Kenya Revenue Authority. This integration helps to validate the information provided by various students in order to ensure that they are banded in the right band. This targeted approach, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, ensures that students who face the most significant financial challenges receive the greatest support to complete their education. Madam Speaker, since the rollout of the student-centered funding model, there have been improvements carried out to ensure that it accurately determines the student's level of need and that no needy student is disadvantaged. The improvements have been formed by engagement with stakeholders, including honorable members of parliament through that Kamkunji. On account of these engagements, for example, Madam Speaker, the means testing instrument has been enhanced to capture broader socioeconomic factors and therefore improve the accuracy of the categorization. These extra additional socioeconomic factors include the number of children in primary and secondary school in a household. They also include the parents' highest educational level. It also includes the agricultural priority programs, and I'll come to explain that a little bit later. It includes areas where, for example, parents are known. So the categorization has been expanded in order to ensure that as we categorize the students into bands, the outcome places them as close as possible to their realities. These improvements, Mr. Speaker, have seen a change in categorization across the various bands, even as students also have been sensitized to provide more accurate information that are detailed. A comparison of their categorization between the year 2023, 2024, and the 2024-2025 has actually confirmed from the figures that the Band 1, Band 2, and Band 3 have more students this year than they had the last year. And Band 5 and Band 4 and 5 have lesser students than they had last year. So it has tilted because of the improvement of the categorization. The other mechanisms that have also been placed in place ensure that the very needy students are not disadvantaged is the appeals mechanism. We came up with an appeals mechanism that allows students to get into the appeals portal, and if their circumstances have changed, they would put in the new information and they would then be recategorized. This is because we acknowledge that financial circumstances of students and parents do change, and therefore, once they change, the student banding also changes. For example, if a parent has lost a job, the student would go into the portal and indicate that although my father or mother was working last year, they are not working this year, and I do not have the income we had last year, so it has shifted, and therefore their circumstances have changed. We have also noted and acknowledged that internet access and connectivity has various disadvantages to various students, and students who come from poor backgrounds may not have access to the internet. To cure this, we have set up desks in each and every university from the university funding team so that the students can be assisted to put in their data in the universities where they've been admitted to, so that they are not disadvantaged. Mr. Speaker, the second question requires us to set measures that were put in place to simplify the model and enlighten the general public about it. As you rightly noted during the Kamkunji, the public was not well informed about the student-centered funding model, and we agreed with you that we need to put more energy in communication to the public. In this regard, Mr. Speaker, we've taken a number of measures, and firstly, we've noted the salient concern that has been raised by stakeholders, especially the students themselves, on their involvement in decision-making around the funding model. In this regard, His Excellency the President has constituted the National Working Committee on Review of the new University Education Funding Model to refine the funding model in order to optimize its functioning. The Gazette notice has been released and it is attached, and this is part of the broader effort to ensure that stakeholders understand the model and they contribute to enhancing it. The other measures that we've taken, Mr. Speaker, include public sensitization. We've rolled out a number of public sensitization campaigns across the country through the radio, the print media, public forums, etc., etc. We have also gone into digital resource for easy access, where, as a ministry, we have invested in digital resources to simplify access through the funding model that is in the portal. We have also done stakeholder engagement and collaboration. We've rolled out YouTube demonstrations and social media campaigns where demonstrations are given step by step on how to apply for scholarships and to apply for loans under this funding model. We've also done social media campaigns through Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, including short video clips showing answers to the frequently asked questions. Mr. Speaker, we have also included simplification application process through automation, where we've stipulated the various steps on how an applicant can check their eligibility and submit their documents online. We have also created, Mr. Speaker, helplines where we have continuous feedback so that we can respond to them. They're on 24/7 basis so that we can be able to respond to the challenges or the questions and concerns that the students have. We have done regional outreach, both on sites and off sites, through Oduma centers and other support systems. We've done timely updates and transparent disbursements of the amounts that are due to the students. And Mr. Speaker, we will continue to engage the public and continue discussing with them and informing them how this model works so that the public are informed. Mr. Speaker, the third question requires us to provide the approximate cost of education of an individual from the basic education level to the tertiary level. Mr. Speaker, the cost of an individual student from basic to tertiary levels depends on a number of variables, such as whether the learner has special needs, the type of schools attended, whether it's a day school or a boarding school, the gender, and the type of tertiary education received. That's whether it is through TVET or university. The current rates, Mr. Speaker, for capitation are as follows. For primary, we have 1,420 per learner per year. For secondary, that is junior school, we have 15,042 per learner per year. And for secondary, we have 22,244 per learner per year. Mr. Speaker, these rates were considered by the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms, and they recommended that the rates be revised to reflect the actual costs of education. Therefore, the figures provided above are the ones, the figures that I'm going to read below are the ones that were recommended by the Working Party. For pre-primary, it was recommended that the figure be enhanced to 5,384 per year for lunch and 1,170 per year for tuition. That brings the cost per year to about 18,828 for PP1 and PP2. But if the learner has special needs, the figure increases to 19,636. For primary school, the figure that has been recommended is 2,238 per year for tuition and 5,384 for lunch. The total cost, therefore, per learner in a regular day primary school for 6 years is 45,732. In boarding schools, the cost increases because of the cost of dinner, that is 5,594, resulting in 79,296 shillings per year. If the learner has special needs, this figure increases, and the total is 101.40 shillings for the entire primary school period. For junior school, the annual cost of tuition in regular school is estimated at 15,043 per learner. The cost for lunch is 5,384. This totals 61,281 for the 3 years in a regular day junior school. If the learner has special needs, you add 10,000, it goes up by 10,000, and therefore goes to 91,281 per year. In secondary schools, there is a table that I have, and Mr. Speaker, allow me to just indicate that we have a different figure for female students and male students, because the female students in the kit that they get is slightly higher than the male students. So for female students in National Extra County School, the figure is 481,915 for the 4 years. But if you have special needs, the figure is 621,915. For males, the figure works out to 472,232. But if you have special need, it becomes 612,232. If you're in boarding school for females, the figure is 429,839. But if you have special needs, it is 569,839. And male in boarding schools, the figure is 420,156. And if you have special needs, it is 560,156. At this point, Mr. Speaker, let me note that 70% of our students are in day schools, with boarding secondary schools accounting for only 30% of the student population. For learners with special needs, Mr. Speaker, the capitation is enhanced by 35,000 per learner per year, with a total capitation of 230,108 per learner over the 4 years. For learners in day secondary schools, the approximate cost per learner per year is 22,527 for tuition, 11,000 for lunch, and this totals to 134,108. The 11,000 for lunch in these schools, however, is a special arrangement between the schools and the parents, and it's not a capitation. For tertiary education, Mr. Speaker, The average cost of education and training in technical and vocational education and training institutions is 125,789 per annum, comprising tuition of 67,189 and assessment of 15,000, upkeep of 18,600, and administration costs of 25,000. In universities, the annual programs cost range from 122,400 for arts programs to 612,000 per year for programs in medicine. The average upkeep costs per year for students in the university is 60,000 per student. Mr. Speaker, the figures for secondary school that we have indicated are between the fees for day secondary schools, to the lowest, that's the lowest figure, and national extra secondary schools have the highest figures. So, Mr. Speaker, the figures for universities and TVET are inclusive of upkeep and subsistence costs. The most expensive program is Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery, actually Bachelor of Medicine and Dental Surgery, which is 612,000. And the least expensive program is Bachelor of Arts at 122,400. Mr. Speaker, the fourth question requires us to state the amount that goes towards education bursaries and scholarships every year. I wish to clarify, Mr. Speaker, that the government is required to provide capitation to public basic education institutions every year at the approved rate of 1,420 per learner per year in primary schools, 15,042 per learner per year in junior school, and 22,244 per learner per year in secondary school. The total provision depends on the enrollment, and the requirements that have been provided has a deficit over the last 3 financial years, and I have a table there to show, for instance, in the financial year 2022 to 2023, the requirement was 11,815 million. But what was budgeted was 11,800 what was budgeted was 11 billion 800